Welcome to Hoovie's Garage, the dumbest automotive channel in all of YouTube. And the Porsche 911 market, it's stupid.
$850,000.
It is really stupid.
$1,300,000, the reserve just came off.
But the thing is, it's filled with a lot of really stupid people to pump up the used Porsche 911 stupid market.
It's a bit exciting to write 7-0. It might be my pronunciation. We're at $17 million.
So, this is my entry into this stupidity.
Did a Porsche throw up on you? Hey! Let's push up!
So behind all this smoke is my latest purchase, a 2007 Porsche 911 Carrera. And it's kind of rare because it's not the S or the 4S, it's just the base Carrera. Most people went up on these things. And there's just a few that have sold in the last year on Bring a Trailer, 0 on Cars and Biz in the last 3 years. And they've all been around $50,000 with 50 to 60,000 miles. And that makes absolutely no sense because these 997.1s are defective cars with a fatal flaw that this one may has. Now I paid about half that for this example, but even at that number, it is not worth it because of this car's fatal flaw, cylinder scoring in the engine, which is $30,000 to rebuild. And it's not a matter of if, but when on the 997. And it doesn't matter how well the car's been taken care of, how many miles it has. This one a little over 80,000 miles. It is going to happen. Sometimes it happens at 20,000 miles, sometimes at 120,000 miles, but it is going to happen. And that may be the case with this one. And when you think about it, there's so many sports cars for around $50,000 that you can buy that have way more performance than this, 320 or 30 horsepower, not being fundamentally flawed in its design as far as having an engine hang out past the rear wheels, and not having these engineered to fail problems that are really stupid. For example, AMG GTS, I bought that for around $50,000. R35 GTR, I bought that for around $50,000. Bentley Continental GT, they can be more maintenance heavy, but they don't have fatal engine flaws, and you can buy those for way cheaper than this. I'm giving mine away on fanathem.com, Hoovie's Garage. Treat yourself to some merch and you can win a Bentley. But this 911, people go crazy for it because they went back to the round headlights. Now I have this 911 up here, 99 Porsche 911 that I LS swapped after the engine blew, but that had 240,000 miles on it. So it's okay that the engine finally went at that mileage, and they're still affordable. That's really the only 911 that I think is worth buying. And about 7 years ago, I bought an air-cooled 86 3.2 Carrera and thought it was a bubble that was going to burst, paying $30,000 for one of those. Since prices have doubled on that Porsche, on the air-cooled Porsches, it's just totally nuts. There seems to be an endless amount of rich people willing to pay crazy amounts for cars that, aren't that good, that have a lot of common problems, but there's just this mystique around the Porsche 911 that makes no sense. And any other Porsche, as far as Boxsters go, as far as Panameras, I have a Panamera 4S, they depreciate like normal European luxury cars, so when they break, you can choose to fix it, you can dump it. But in the case of the 911, it is still a major investment, even though they made a bajillion of these things, so it makes no sense at all. And as you can see, I thought I was getting a good deal on this one, but that exhaust at the back, no, unfortunately. When I buy a car like that from a cold email, I kind of wish my information wasn't so easy to find on the internet, but things can get a lot worse than buying a junk car. Data brokers can legally collect and sell all types of data about you, like your name, address, phone number, and sell it to anyone with a credit card. This exposes you to identity theft risks, phishing attempts, and more. Data privacy is becoming a bigger problem, especially with all the data breaches getting reported daily, including a popular dating app recently reported by the New York Times that leaked images and personal data. I trust Delete Me, the sponsor of today's video, to protect my privacy online. Delete Me is a hands-free subscription service that removes your personal information from hundreds of data broker and people search sites, reducing your risk of your data getting into the wrong hands. I chose them because they've been around for 15 years. They keep your data safe by not outsourcing the work to third parties, using their own tech to continuously remove your data, and Delete Me was recently named by Wirecutter as the #1 data removal device. Years ago, my grandmother fell for a number of scams, one of them imitating me, knowing all my information to convince her to send money out of the country. So signing up for Delete Me to protect my data was a no-brainer. And you can get 20% off Delete Me consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/Hoovies and use the promo code Hoovies at checkout, or use the QR code on the screen. That's joindeleteme.com/Hoovies, code Hoovies. So the reason for the bore scoring is pretty simple, actually. The Porsche 911 has a flat engine, which I guess I can't show you because the engine hatch will not pop. It doesn't pop, but we can go underneath it here, and you can see it is a flat boxer 6-cylinder engine. Holy crap, this thing looks terrible. And unfortunately, those cylinders, they sit sideways, so they sit flat and pump this way, which now I'm laying down and making this motion. That is a very bad representation of what it does, but basically, yes, this. And I'll now switch to proper visual aids, but what happens is the Nikasil lining on the cylinders fails and it allows oil to get past the rings, and then the engine smokes just like this, then it starts making noise and the engine eventually fails. So we're in phase 1 probably of this engine failing, which is a bunch of smoke at cold start. Now, it could also be the oil air separator. That's another common issue, but then you'd be seeing smoke more commonly out of both sides rather than one. An easy way to tell is to stick a camera inside the cylinders, which you pull out the spark plugs, and look and see if they're scoring, which is very smart to do before you buy a Porsche, not after in the case of me, which is what I did based on a viewer saying the car ran and drove great. He put 200 miles on it after taking it on trade at a Boston Whaler, yes, a boat dealer in Massachusetts. Somebody dumped this Porsche for a boat, and it's pretty easy to see why. This Porsche is in very, very rough shape. So this bumper is just hanging on here. It is very loose, so this has hit something. But in addition, the original paint is failing everywhere. The clear coat is coming apart for whatever reason. There's scratches everywhere. The wheels are completely scraped up and destroyed. They're the larger 19-inch turbo wheels, which look really good on this thing, but this is a beat, well-used 911 with 86,000 miles on it, something you wouldn't normally see. Usually people take really good care of their cars, but in this case, this thing looks as bad as the engine seems to be. And then underneath you saw, well, when we get to the car wizards, it'll be way worse, I imagine, but there's an exhaust leak. There's probably a hole from rust here, which I've never seen a muffler rusted on a 911, along with an oil leak, and then whatever is going on there. When you go inside, well, it's a lot nicer on the inside, actually. Just normal wear in the leather interior, 83,000 miles, sorry, I thought 86. But there are a lot of problems. One of them being the key. So if I put in the key and just turn it casually, nothing happens. I have to push this thing in really hard for it to detect the key and then turn to get it started. But then here's the thing, this ignition is so worn out, I can just take the key out and the car's still running. Another problem, it sometimes doesn't want to turn off either, so I could turn it all the way off. Anyway, it's messed up, but that's the least of my issues, obviously. The radio doesn't work as well. It's missing a button. I don't think the air conditioning works, but the transmission and the clutch, they do feel just fine. The sunroof doesn't work either. It doesn't respond to any commands. And me revving it cold is apparently the worst thing that you can do to a Porsche 911 of this generation. And buying one from a cold state, from the Northeast or anywhere in the North, is apparently way worse than buying one from California or whatever, because those cold starts exacerbates the bore scoring issue, which may explain this. But I say but, it's probably dead, but I could get lucky and it could be the oil air separator and could be some minor issues. And with a quick repaint, this thing would be worth a lot more, way more than what I paid for it. But I think I'm smoked. I'm literally smoked, but I think I'm totally smoked financially on this car. When you start driving it, immediately the smoke goes away. Immediately. It's almost like there's a buildup somehow. Could be the intake, but coming out of one tailpipe. I don't think so. Maybe something else. I don't know. And then when you start driving it, it does drive a lot better. But here's what every 997 owner has to worry about. When they drive it, they're not revving over 3,000 RPM until that oil temperature gauge moves, and then they can actually start enjoying their car. And it does take a while, but look at all these error lights. It is wild. And when I get up to speed, I also get the error for the spoiler, the active spoiler. So that has failed as well. And then when I go down the road, this is me go down the road straight, and as you can see, the steering wheel is cocked several degrees. It is way off. The suspension feels blown as well. The brakes, they feel totally worn out. I hit the brakes and it grinds and it has a big lip on the rotor. So really, if this car was free, I overpaid for it. Now, I bought it in the 20s thinking it was an amazing deal. I repaint it and have some fun and sell it. But in this shape, it is not worth it if it were free or this guy paid me $20,000 to take it. If it has cylinder scoring. So I'm kind of stuck. And honestly, I don't get it. I don't get why people go so crazy for these cars, especially how common they are. You go to a Porsche car show and it is row after row of 911 where all the 911s look the same, and it's not exciting at all. You go to one works reunion and you've seen every Porsche 911 ever made, and you never need to go again because you're not going to see anything exciting. There's so much of every single Porsche that, I mean, I don't get it. 15 years ago, you could buy a nice air-cooled 911 for around $10,000 or $15,000, a turbo for around $30,000, and it was expensive to maintain, but it was devoted enthusiasts keeping them going. And now, it's such a crazy market where a turbo air-cooled car is $200,000. A normal, like normally aspirated 200 horsepower one's $100,000. And if you want to rebuild the engine, they're $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And these companies that do them, they have a waiting list. It's not like they're sitting around waiting for engines to show up. They are constantly rebuilding engines. People are paying the $30,000 to $50,000 to rebuild these things. And why? It makes no sense. Get a BMW M2, get a Shelby GT350. It would kill this thing on the track in an instant, and you could get it for way less money. It just doesn't make any sense. And also, German cup holders, true to form, it's all broken here. This flap won't close. I don't think there's supposed to be this much play in the steering wheel before it starts doing anything. So, admittedly, this is one very neglected beat Porsche 911, but still 83,000 miles. You think it would have held up better. You think, someone just does the minimum and the car should still be in decent shape at this age, especially with the reputation these things have. It's just horrible, crunchy over bumps. Look at this guy, his 335 convertible, which could beat me in a drag race that he bought for way, way less, I imagine, unless he bought it new. And now that I've warmed up, let's see if I can keep up with him. I can't, and he doesn't even know that I'm trying. That exhaust too, it sounds terrible. There is clearly a big hole in the exhaust somewhere, and it makes the whole cabin of this thing vibrate. It's very, very broken for a car that a viewer who is supposedly a fan says, I put 200 miles on it and drives great. No. So we're gonna head to the car wizards now. If it doesn't have bore scoring, if by some miracle the oil separator is the reason for all the smoke or something else, even though it's on one side, which is a classic telltale sign of bore scoring, this thing might be fixable, but otherwise, it's a mechanically totaled at least once over, which I guess is pretty impressive considering it's still going down the road somewhat. He's already waving me in. Well, geez, wait for me to get out, at least. Come on.
I already know what I'm going to find here. I think I'm going to find, and typically on these Porsches, I discover if it has bore scoring or not, because it's not worth doing anything else.
Right. So the first thing you do is check for bore scoring before you fleece the customer for other stuff. It needs everything, Wizard. Brakes, suspension, all the warning lights.
Oh man.
I just don't understand why people go so crazy for these things. I mean, you'd rather have your R8 than this car. And
Absolutely.
They're worth about the same when they're nice. It makes no sense. Like a Bentley Continental V8s, you love those. I love W12s, and I get that they're a pain, but you'd rather have that over. I just don't understand why they're so expensive. But anyway, maybe I got lucky. Maybe it's something.
Maybe.
I don't know. But it does smoke on cold start.
Oh boy, that's not good.
And it's out the left side.
I think that might be the right side of the engine. We'll look at the exhaust when we get underneath.
Yeah, I
think it crosses.
Well, it's nice that the rear end just hangs off like that, where you have full access to the engine, huh?
It is nice, but this rust definitely isn't nice.
No, I have an exhaust leak, and that is a hole. That is a. Yep.
Look at this.
It's just completely disconnected. Okay.
Wow.
Well, that's fun.
Well, you say the smoke's coming from this one?
This one. Mm-hmm.
Well, it goes into this muffler and goes over through this broken pipe piece.
So it goes across
over to here.
To that side.
To the passenger side.
So it does kind of crisscross or scissor, if you will, right?
Yes.
But also oil leaks. It drips a lot on the ground. Anyway.
That's probably a rear main seal.
There's no reason to even look at it yet.
There's not.
No, we can just, anyway.
I do see a nice sway bar link here.
Oh, you're still looking. Wait, is that completely disconnected?
Not even hooked up.
So that's just broken off.
Yep.
The suspension feels way weird on this thing, but you do that on Jeeps to, get better,
Not on a Porsche.
disconnect the sway bars and get some more swinging on the axle, right?
So I'll get some tools together and we'll take a spark plug out and look inside.
That heat shield there. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, this is a long time coming. Wow, the R8 engine's back in and it's running.
Running well, yeah.
How about that? And all-wheel drive disconnected.
Yes, it is rear-wheel drive only now.
Sweet. And then I guess my Lotus is next. We're waiting for the transmission to come back, but
Yep.
I'm guessing this is somebody's. Just pop the trunk.
Emergency.
Oh, sure enough.
Yep.
Okay.
Emergency release there.
Because I could not get it open with the electronic thing. There we go. Little thing to protect the ignition coils from the exhaust heat, I guess.
Yep. It looks like some Torx, external Torx there.
Okay. There's an ignition coil.
It's not covered in oil, that's good.
That would be good.
Baru.
I was looking at the cylinder diagrams, and that is number 6 that he has the hole there, the easiest one to reach. And the most common failure, guess what? 4, 5, and 6 for bore scoring. So we're on the correct side of the engine. Hopefully the cylinder's not all the way up at the top to where we can actually, see some cylinder wall action. But
What's interesting is that you mentioned where the smoke's coming from, and it's coming from 4, 5, and 6, where the most common failures are.
yeah.
That's not good.
Spark plug is out, and
It doesn't look coked in oil or anything. It doesn't look terrible.
it looks okay. And there's Wizard's well-used
Tush.
Tejlong camera.
Tejlong.
He uses it for personal uses and the shop, so it is.
Not personal.
I thought you did the colostomies on the weekends.
Kind of a side hustle.
Right? You're just bouncing around the outside, Wizard. Can't get in.
Yeah. The tip won't go in.
Oh, okay.
Of course,
Cylinder's all the way up.
but I do see oil. You see how it's shiny in the bottom? Might have to move the engine. See where we're at now. This is a bad idea to leave ratchets hanging on a deal like that. I worked at a shop many years ago where a guy did a timing belt and he left that on and he started the engine and it just wham, broke all kind of stuff.
But I can rotate a little more if need be once you get it back in. Come on, Wizard, get that finesse.
Oh my God, it's in.
There you go.
Okay, you want to turn that ratchet. Make sure it's seated all the way onto the... Okay, stop.
Starting to come up a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm going to turn it to my side camera. There it is. There's some scoring right there. See it?
Yes, but that's not as extremely crazy as you see in
It gets
some
worse.
of it.
If I can get it to
Oh, when you go down a little bit?
seal
Yep.
down there.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of scorings.
Sure enough.
So this one's not bad enough. I mean, this makes sense where just once in a while you see some smoke.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a little oil getting past, but that's not going to get better. It's going to get worse and worse.
Right.
It's tore through the coating and the liner. It's just going to continue to get worse.
Yeah, I've seen ones where the coating's just entirely gone. So we're in the
Yeah.
beginnings of cylinder scoring on this engine, basically.
Yes, the beginnings of the end.
And that's why it cold starts, it smokes, and it stops.
Yep.
Okay. So it would actually probably have good leak down numbers, good compression numbers, hot,
Yeah.
and you drive this thing another 10, 20,000 miles, and it's probably donezo, right?
It's probably donezo. It's kind of like an aggressive cancer where there's no cure. You probably have some time, but the end is coming.
The end is coming.
Yep.
And there's already a lot of work to be done.
Yes.
Well, for giggles, I guess, let's just see what else needs to be done, huh?
Okay.
We know the exhaust.
Yeah.
We know the sway bar link. It's also very possible the other cylinders that are harder to get to could be worse.
Very likely.
So that, yeah. So anyway, we have the oil leak. Wow, that is a very, very active oil leak.
Could be rear main seal, but it could be something up in here too. We already saw the sway bar link that's broken off. Let's check these wheels out here. Those rotors are very rusty.
They are, and they have a big lip on them from what I can see. They don't feel good either, at least in the front.
Oh yeah, huge lip. Mm-hmm. This must be an aftermarket sway bar with all these multiple holes. I wonder if it's been lowered.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's a little lower than stock.
The springs are awfully rusty, but the shock's not blown.
It feels like it in the front, but
This is
who the heck
completely
knows?
broken off.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. Well, not much to see. We can see a little bit into here.
But it's a two-wheel drive car, so there's not a lot of extra stuff like the all-wheel drives.
Oh, look at that strut. It's like rusting into pieces. Oh.
Jeez.
I would say those struts are no good.
It feels toast. And same with the brakes in the front, really bad.
Wow. Brakes are really, really bad, yeah. This brake line, I would not want to break that loose. That's just going to snap in half.
So that brake line's done.
Yes. This thing's seen some serious rust. That strut's just as bad, if not worse.
So we would need new brake lines,
New rotors, new pads, new struts,
new struts,
sway bar links,
rear main seal, most likely.
eventually an engine rebuild.
Eventually an engine rebuild, and an exhaust.
Yes, complete exhaust.
There's also, that's just completely separated. Actually, there's more, Wizard. Go ahead and put it down because
Okay.
it just keeps going. A fan sent this to me. They're like they were doing me a favor. I think if people email me and say, hey, Tyler, I'm a big fan of your channel, they probably mean, hey, Tyler, I know you're a huge sucker, right?
Yeah, they could go that way. It definitely could.
So this is my first time seeing this. And what in the heck?
They've got these little. These aren't supposed to be here. These are like PC fans out of a computer, and they used wood screws to screw it in.
Why?
What the hell?
There would have been a fan here, I think.
Yeah, it would have been right here.
Where did it go?
They've had multiple different fans. You can see holes everywhere.
Okay, and then there's supposed to be some kind of spoiler that's going to pop up, but it doesn't work, and it's
All the guts are gone out of that.
pretty obvious to see why on that.
Yep. This thing
Wonderful.
is disconnected and broken.
Okay,
There's some extra oil. If they know you're going to need extra oil right there.
so they just leave it in there hanging out
yeah.
to top it off,
This doesn't help either. That these have never been serviced, and it's just letting dirt and sand right into the engine.
and that leads to scoring, obviously.
Here's the oil filler neck. Looks like it's been JB welded on.
That's beautiful. Air conditioning doesn't work as well. That's another thing. Doesn't look. Yeah.
There's nothing in there. I mean, the shaft is broken or something. It spins way too easy.
So I need a compressor as well, most likely.
Yep.
Okay.
And probably entire AC system.
That's
Receiver
cute.
dryer, the condenser, everything's going to have trash on it possibly. I bet it seized up and broke the shaft.
That's cute. I also have the check engine light, the airbag light. The radio doesn't work. I said the air conditioning doesn't work.
There's too many. It's like the death of 1,000 cuts.
It's insane. It is very much mechanically totaled. Now, these are $50,000, $60,000 in this condition. I guess with the mileage, probably $45,000 for this car if it was nice. You see the paint's falling off of it too. It's just unfortunately beat and the bumper coming off. So, you know, when I was getting it for like low 20s and half price, I thought, well, why not? As long as the engine isn't bad, which the guy told me he's put 200 miles on it and seems to drive great. I thought, well, okay, worth a chance. No.
No, I wouldn't put a dime
No.
into this thing. I wouldn't.
No.
I don't want your money this time.
Well, I'm just curious what an office session would look like on this. I'm just curious what the number would be.
We
I
can
think
do
it
that.
would be insane. Did you notice how loose that lock cylinder was?
yeah, I
Just
can
pull the key. Yeah,
pull the key.
It's
It's the key's on, and then I can just pull it out. Yeah.
it is toast.
HFM electrical fault, system 2 lean on both banks, the clutch switch input, tank system major leak, fuel level sensor.
So it running lean would burn up engines, obviously. Help with cylinder scoring.
It has some communication issues with the cluster. The front lid is open. Passenger thorax airbag above upper limit.
What's the thorax? What part of your body is the thorax?
Like this, it says airbag.
Okay.
In here.
All right.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that this lean thing has everything to do with those crappy air filters.
Oh, yeah,
It's probably
for sure.
destroyed the airflow
But
sensors.
it just keeps going and going. This car doesn't like to communicate. It doesn't like to talk to. It's not a talker, apparently.
It's not a talker.
No
It definitely
communication. All right. Well, just out of curiosity, not that I'm going to do any of it, but I'm wondering what an office session would look like with this thing, because it's got to be unbelievable.
It's going to cost at least the 40 or 50 grand that these are worth or more, easily. Let's go find out.
This one took a while, Wizard, and you're shopping for another Porsche 911.
Yeah, whatever it's going to cost to fix yours, I can take that money and go buy a whole ass other 911.
$41,000 bid to on a Carrera S with lower mileage. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so me getting mine for a little over half that doesn't seem too bad, right?
Not until you see these numbers.
No. I imagine free would have been too much, right?
It would have been.
Okay, here we go.
All right. The engine alone, just getting it rebuilt by R&D, is 32 grand. That doesn't include any labor, just the engine.
That's just the engine rebuild cost.
Yeah.
So the cost of you pulling it out, and then all the while you're there is...
The clutch and all the hoses and the belts, the
Right.
whole spiel gets us to 40 grand.
Wow. And like even rebuild kits are still $6,000, and there's like 40 or 50 hours of work with somebody who's never rebuilt a Porsche engine before. That'd be crazy to do it yourself.
It would be, yeah, it would be.
And so it doesn't make any sense. Okay.
Front struts, $1,500.
That's expensive, but that's expected.
They're like
yes.
$400 or $500 each, and then the labor. Front rotors, pads, hoses, the line, $1,300.
Yeah, because they are all just toast.
They are toast.
Totally toast. All right.
Rear sway bar links, $250 is not too bad.
Easy enough.
Rear struts, $1,400.
Okay. About the same.
The spoiler to fix the fans, whole situation really would just replace the whole lid because they've drilled holes all in it. They've cut the metal out, the structure. They've just destroyed that lid. The lid alone is $4 grand, a used one.
Wow.
And then labor to install and everything. You're getting close to $5 grand on that.
I kind of like the computer fans, honestly.
I think they're out of a Packard Bell or a Dell or
it's
something.
very cool. I've never seen that before.
I don't
where
know, man.
All that stuff fails, and like, yeah, we'll just wire up some computer fans. Like that was some ingenuity there. It shows the care this car's had its entire life. Obviously,
They went to CompUSA and got a few fans or something.
Radio Shack when it was still around. Yeah. Oh boy.
The running lean, new mass airflow sensors, and put the stock air cleaner back in. That's probably going to be about $1,700. The airflow sensors are $400 or $500
Wow.
each.
Okay. Jeez.
Full AC system. That's the condenser, the compressor, the dryer, expansion valve, the labor, $1,800.
That sounds about right. Okay.
The exhaust system is so rusted on that it's really not salvageable. Just put a whole good use system in it. $2,750.
That's probably about right. So I mean, a used exhaust, not a new one, obviously.
Not a new one.
And, okay. Yeah. That tracks, and it needs it.
It does. And all the communication codes, trying to track that down, would be another $500.
Okay.
$56,700.
$56,000. So even without the engine, if it was okay, it'd be $16,000 in repairs on top of that, and then I would have like for a decent paint job $5 grand, and so it still wasn't worth it. Even if the engine was good, it wasn't worth it. But at this point, $56,000. This car's worth about 40, 45. So he would have had to pay me $10,000 or $15,000 to make this worth it.
Yes.
Well, no, because I have to paint it. So really, I would have needed to be paid $20,000 to take this car.
Yes.
For it to be worth it. And that is Porsche 911 ownership.
It is.
The thing is, though, I'll put this up for sale as a project. Disclose everything. And people will go crazy for a Porsche 911 project.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all.
It's 20 grand and I can work on it in my garage. Like, people will line up for it because there's just so many crazy people for these cars, and it makes no sense.
For this amount of money, I'll go buy another R8.
That's so many amazing, cool cars for that money. Even a nice version, that looks like a $30,000 car to me. A 996, a $20,000 car. It just makes no sense that they're $50,000, $60,000 for something with 300 horsepower that they made hundreds of thousands of. It's just, and then the parts prices, the maintenance, it's dumb. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot, and I admit it all the time. But you Porsche people, you're right here with me.
Yes.
I mean, you have a Boxster, but
Yeah.
they're cheap to get into. Boxster S's are very affordable. The IMS bearing, who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, compared to this,
Insane.
anyway, I got smoked. So thank you all so much for watching, especially the ones that are big fans of the channel and have a car that they think's good. They put 200 miles on it and it's fine. I promise it didn't have cylinder scoring. I promise. I didn't promise, but bye.